Today, I would like to introduce to you a scene from a new series featuring a very cool character named Old Man Chow. Ghostly stories appear wherever he passes. The emergence of goblins, animals with spiritual energy, and all the mysteries of the deep forest will be vividly and truthfully portrayed throughout his journey. And now, let us begin to immerse ourselves in the stories of Old Man Chow. When my father was a child, my family had not yet moved down to the Golden Cave. Everyone lived in the Western Mountains. My grandfather and my father lived in a small valley at the foot of the mountain. Every spiritual story my father told me made me feel both scared and excited because they were fascinating tales, intertwined with many hidden truths. Most of those stories were related to a strange man in the village, a very peculiar forest guard. In his youth, he was an expert hunter who never missed a shot. However, after an accident, both his legs became crippled and he could no longer walk steadily. Regardless of summer or winter, he always wore a padded cotton coat. On his back, he always hung a small tobacco pouch and a pipe, and in his hand, he always carried a gourd filled with rice wine. From a distance, anyone who smelled the tobacco would immediately know he was coming. People always called him by the strange name Old Man Chow, and his real name was forgotten. Though he looked eccentric and somewhat unkempt, children were always delighted to meet him. Old Man Chow rarely came down the mountain. Only when he needed more wine would he descend to the small village. My father and his friends were always thrilled whenever he came down. Everyone loved him. They would often treat him to wine or buy it for him, so he rarely had to spend money. Seeing him approach, my father would run out and offer to help carry his wine gourd. My father and his friends would jostle each other to see who could go buy wine for him. Old Man Chow would follow behind and remind them, "Be careful, children, or you'll break my wine gourd." At that time, there were no supermarkets or department stores like today. At most, the village had one small shop selling necessities like tobacco, wine, matches, and rice. My father and his friend would excitedly enter the shop. The wine wasn't in fancy bottles, but was distilled from rice and kept in large jars. Yet, this wine was delicious and carried a pure, rich aroma. Each time they bought wine for him, Old Man Chow would buy them candy as a reward. Even so, my father and his friend always wanted to be near him, not just for the foreign candies, but for something much more attractive: to hear Old Man Chow tell stories about his life and the mysterious, adventurous, and legendary experiences he had been through. Old Man Chow laughed heartily because, looking at the children's faces, he understood what they were thinking. But to make the story more engaging, he would prolong their anticipation by taking a sip of wine. Slowly, he would pull the pipe from his waist, take tobacco from the cloth pouch, and pack it into the pipe. After a few puffs of smoke, he looked very happy and satisfied. This was his habit before starting any story. A moment later, not letting my father and his friend wait longer, he slowly recounted his tale. Old Man Chow's house was deep inside the forest on a high peak. His main job was to protect the forest and prevent timber theft. Sometimes he worked by day and sometimes by night. One night, he stood up, prepared his gear, and slung his long gun to go on patrol. Despite being blind in one eye, he could still see very well at night. He boasted that he had the eyes of an owl, which made his patrols effective. He looked around to check all four directions. Behind the thick bushes, there was a sound like someone clashing metal together. He was extremely surprised and sensed something unusual. He moved closer to the sound to investigate. Not wanting to be detected, he moved silently. Old Man Chow hid behind a large tree and held his breath to observe. After a while, he clearly saw two figures in different colored armor fighting. The sound he heard was the sound of metal armor clashing. One person wore golden armor, and the other wore silver-black armor. Both fought fiercely with looks of rage. Initially, Old Man Chow was surprised, but with his years of experience living in the forest, he guessed these two were not human. He took his gun and cocked it, ready to defend himself. He stood behind the tree watching the battle. After a while, the one in golden armor seemed exhausted and could not withstand the continuous attacks of the silver-armored one. The silver-armored figure raised a sword to strike the golden one's head. The golden-armored figure tried to block it, but trembled and retreated, trying to dodge the blows. However, the golden-armored figure could not avoid a heavy strike that hit his shoulder. A scream echoed as blood splattered on the armor. The silver-armored figure took the opportunity to strike again to finish him off. Seeing that the golden-armored figure had no way out and was waiting for death, Old Man Chow raised his gun and aimed at the attacker. Although he didn't know who was right or wrong, his nature was to protect the underdog. He aimed and shot right at the hilt of the sword, breaking it in half. The sound of the gun echoed through the forest, causing birds to fly frantically in the night. After the shot, Old Man Chow looked at the clearing and saw that both figures had vanished. He carried his gun to the spot and looked around. On the ground were two wooden figures, and one of them had been broken by his shot. On the ground, there was a dark red liquid that smelled like blood. After checking, Old Man Chow calmly returned home, though he found the event very strange. He put his gun away and went to sleep. A few days later, Old Man Chow forgot the incident. When he opened his door, he was surprised to see a dead rabbit lying right at his doorstep. He saw bite marks on its neck and suspected an animal had intentionally brought it. He looked around to see who placed it there, but only saw a shadow disappear into the bushes. Every 3 to 5 days, a dead animal would be placed there, sometimes a bird, a rabbit, or even a wild boar. Old Man Chow wasn't afraid because he knew whatever it was, it didn't mean to harm him. He decided to stay awake one night to see who it was. That night, he sat by the window with his pipe, observing in the dim light. A spiritual creature appeared, carrying a dead animal in its mouth. As it came closer, Old Man Chow saw it was a large fox. It brought him a rabbit, placed it at the door, and turned away. At that moment, he saw the fox was missing a patch of fur on its shoulder, revealing a large wound. Old Man Chow realized that the large fox was the gold-armored figure, and the silver-armored one was likely another fox, and they had been fighting for territory. Because Old Man Chow had saved its life, the fox brought him gifts in gratitude. After finishing the story, Old Man Chow tucked his pipe away and carried his wine gourd back to the forest. My father told me many other interesting stories about him. He continued telling me about the time when Old Man Chow's wife was still alive. Her name was Mrs. Trung. They had been married for over 30 years but had no children. Only the two of them lived in the cabin on the mountain. One night, while they were sitting together by the dim light of an oil lamp, a sudden storm broke out. Thunder and lightning shook the forest. The atmosphere was heavy. Mrs. Trung felt anxious, sensing something was about to happen. The rain was incredibly heavy, with howling winds and terrifying lightning strikes, as if the heavens were delivering a punishment. Both were worried because such weather was very unusual for a summer night. They decided to put away their things and go to bed early. In the middle of the night, there was a loud knocking at the door, urgent and rapid. Both were startled. They hesitated, knowing that in this forest, many strange and scary things could happen. Finally, Old Man Chow decided to open the door. He was shocked to see a woman, soaked to the bone, clutching her belly. He immediately called his wife. Mrs. Trung was surprised by the woman's pitiful state and quickly helped her inside. The woman thanked them and explained she was about to give birth and got lost in the storm. Suddenly, her belly convulsed violently. Mrs. Trung, who had helped deliver babies in the village before, didn't feel it was difficult. She hurriedly prepared warm water and blankets. Old Man Chow sat by the hearth, smoking and waiting. Soon, a baby was born. But then, a second baby came, then a third and a fourth. Mrs. Trung was exhausted and surprised, as she had never seen someone give birth to so many children at once. After the fourth child was born, the woman looked exhausted. She thanked the couple and said she had to leave immediately. Mrs. Trung was worried and told her to stay until the storm passed, but Old Man Chow disagreed and told the woman she could go. Just as they were talking, a massive bolt of lightning struck right outside, lighting up the whole room. It seemed to be targeting their house. The woman trembled with fear. Old Man Chow suddenly took off his coat and gave it to her. Wrapped in the human-scented coat, the woman carried the 4 children and stepped outside. This time, the lightning no longer targeted them. The human scent on the coat had shielded them. The woman walked a few steps, looked back, and told them to go to the old hollow tree in the forest to retrieve the coat the next morning. After she left, Mrs. Trung asked if he knew who she was. Old Man Chow said it was likely a spirit fox or a weasel, as only such creatures are pursued by heavenly thunder. The next morning, Old Man Chow went to find the tree. He found the coat inside a hollow trunk. When he picked it up, he felt something wrapped inside. He opened it and was amazed to see small, sparkling gems. They were a gift of gratitude for his help the night before. As he was leaving, he heard a sound inside the tree. A large fox and 4 small ones appeared, staring at him. Old Man Chow nodded to them and returned home.